Hi guys, welcome back to Dome Keeper. Jack here, and today we're playing with the artillery. This is actually my first time using it. It was a lot of fun, but I'll tell you more about it later. So this is Dome Keeper. If you didn't know, the objective is to survive on an alien planet. In between rounds of monsters attacking you, you mine resources under your base to upgrade your base, and it's a lot of fun. So one thing you might notice here is that I started with this portal, and that's because Dome Keeper gives you a gadget from your previous run. If you fail, you don't win. So my last run, I found this teleporter under the ground and it gave it to me. So it makes this run a little bit easier, which is nice. And later in the game, it's going to come in quite handy, and I'll tell you more about it then. So as you can see, we're mining gold here, which is yellow, looks like gold, but there's also cobalt, which you use to repair your base, and water, which you use to upgrade gadgets. In the bottom left there, you can see we start flashing and we go into our first combat. My first artillery shot I'm pretty happy with. Basically, I use a controller here, and you hold down the trigger button and it slowly increases your range, and then you just have to time it with the monsters walking. If you land a direct hit, it does a bunch of damage. If it lands near it, you do some splash damage. And we also have a secondary weapon, which is machine gun, which is really useful for flying opponents, which we'll see in the upcoming rounds. Yeah, so a lot of times I've used the laser before, which was in the last video, and it's all right. You just kind of point it at enemies and shoot, but it's not too interesting. This artillery is quite a bit more interesting because you have to account for how fast they're walking and aiming it, and then it gives you a secondary usage too, which is the machine gun, which we'll see in a second. And I thought it was a lot more engaging. I've also played with the sword, which is fun, but it's a little bit more difficult to use properly, and it has some weaknesses. This one felt pretty good. It's entirely up to you how you aim your weapon. You see there, I had my gun tilted to shoot the flying guy, and then I wasn't able to deal with the guy that was bashing on my walls there. We get our second upgrade there, which is our speed. So we've upgraded our drill strength once, and then we've upgraded our jetpack speed once, which is useful because it just lets you fly a little bit faster. And then it also gives you a little bit more strength for carrying. Oh, and then we've also upgraded our jetpack strength to, sorry, our carry jetpack strength. Basically, when you start off, you can carry 3 objects, and if you try to carry more, you start using or moving really slowly. So I find it's useful to upgrade your drill first, because obviously then you can move through the rock a lot faster. And then carry strength, because then you can carry more than 3 objects at a time. And then jetpack, just because it's nice to fly. You'll see here it's flashing, and so I drop a few items so I can get up there quicker. And here we go. They're already flying. This guy's coming back. They switched sides already. They already had a full rally, so I just decided to stay on that side, and then we do it again. Unfortunately, they do a fair amount of damage, but you get to see the machine gun in action. I decided to buy the wave timer there, that very top upgrade, which just lets me know when the monsters are going to come, because I was not very good at timing it and they've been attacking it. The other thing I got was a machine gun upgrade, which is useful. I think it's just a rate of fire and damage increase. What you'll see too is we went into a new layer of strata. It was kind of green, which makes it harder to break through, which is a good reason to upgrade your teleporter, or sorry, your drill. Teleporter was on the mine because I upgraded it to allow it to teleport resources back. So now I can't go into it to fly me back home. Well, not fly me, teleport me back home. But what it can do is teleport resources. So what you'll see there is I dug a bit of a pit with the teleporter at the bottom, and if I drop gold into it, the teleporter will actually automatically pick it up and send it to my base, which is really useful because then I don't have to worry about flying it back. You can see there's a few other upgrades you can get. The one we got here is teleporting will take less time. Now it's actually very economical. It only takes a second or 2 to teleport. If you leave it stock, it takes like 5 seconds, which is crazy. And so you see there, I can just drop those orbs down rather than carrying them up, so I'm a little bit quicker. And we get our first gadget of this game besides the one we started with, which is the stun laser. You'll see it in action here. It's on the left side of my base there, and it's that little red line. It locks on to creatures and stuns them and prevents them from firing, or makes them fire very, very slow. I try to get a little cheeky artillery shot there, but don't quite get it. And at the last second here, I realize, oh, there's a bunch of these little bug guys over there, but this weapon is great for doing splash damage and killing all of them. And when I have the teleporter, that's usually my go-to strat. Dig a bit of a hole and just drop the ore into it and let it take it home, and I just keep exploring. We got this item last game too. I think it spawns on every map, and it's like a little gem tree. You pick it up and plant it somewhere, and then it spawns a gold pretty much every round. And it's, you know, useful, nice to have. You can never complain about getting passive resources for free. And there we go, we pluck it out there. It's that little black thing. And I'm actually amazed. I dropped it in there and I tried to get it out, and as you can see, it's a bit of a clusterfuck with all the other things in there. One thing I started doing here about this round is I realized you can kind of pre-aim, and you know where the monsters are going to come from, the left or right ground level. And so you can start pre-aiming with the artillery to get a shot off early before you can see them and hopefully kill something. I decided to stay on this side because that flying guy comes. I managed to kill this guy, and let's see if we can get a direct hit over here. Not quite, it lands on my dome. And one important thing to mention is that your artillery shells do not deal damage to yourself. I pick up another drill upgrade because, again, we're in the deeper strata, so it's starting to become a little slower, and I managed to grab the tree plant thing super easily. I clear a bit of room for it so it has room to get big and strong and give me lots of gold. And what you'll see here is that little orb thing. You have to plant a water in this to basically get access to the gadget, which I did, and we'll see what it is next time. So you can see that the drill, jetpack speed, jetpack strength are all just straight gold, and then and your weapon is too, and then all the other kind of upgrades like your shield or the stun lasers, those cost water. So it makes you kind of balance your inventory a little. Just managed to get over here, kill these two flying guys, and then you got to go all the way back to the other side to kill these guys on the ground. But unfortunately, a flying guy comes in. This one goes a little bit too far, which is unfortunate, but luckily we have the splash damage and we get it. Looking at my dome, it's looking a little worse for wear, but so far not too bad. I try to drag it up here, but it gets stuck on the gold, which is kind of funny. You can see that we have combat repair or dome hull deflection. I decided to go for combat repair. So basically, if your dome takes, I think it's 400 HP of damage in a round, it automatically repairs 200, which is pretty useful because if you use cobalt every round, you're going to run out. I finally get back to the surface in time for a round. And I finally get an upgrade for my gun. I go for the direct hit upgrade, which if I land a direct hit on a mob, it does 300% damage instead of 200%. I have a slightly longer reload, which isn't great, but even if I don't land a direct hit, it also does more splash damage for myself, which is useful. Here you can see I aim that shell a little bit farther on to kill the guy that was walking, and the little jumpy dudes, which actually deal a decent amount of damage if you're not careful. I try to aim low to take them out, but unfortunately I just let them all jump on me instead, which isn't great. And like I was saying, my base is not looking good. I think I'm going to have to do something about that. Some of the upgrades you can get for the teleporter are obviously the ones we have, which is teleport resources back. But you can also get one that regains the ability for you to use the teleporter. But to be honest with you, I don't find it that critical unless you're on a really large map. You can also increase the radius it picks it up on, but if you have a 1x3 hole with resources that you're dropping in, you don't really need it. Here you can see that was really useful. The stun laser caught the flying guy right before I was about to leave, and so he wasn't able to move, and so I could machine gun him out. You also see with the direct damage upgrade, and I guess just straight damage to the weapon as well, I one-shot the walking guys, which is very useful. So I finally buy a health upgrade, or actually just it makes my health visible, and you can see I'm pretty low, on about 20% maybe. Not great. But we have lots of cobalt, so it's not the end of the world, and I feel not too upset because we just found a shit ton of gold. I think that's a universal human emotion, regardless of it's a video game or real life. Finding gold just makes anybody happy. And on my way back, I'm just trying to use up all my time efficiently, mining out little nooks and crannies that I might have missed. That stun laser was useful. Blocked that guy from shooting so I could finish him off. Unfortunately there, I wasn't quite quick enough to the draw to kill that guy. I also didn't buy any health increase for myself. And as you can see, oh my god, look how low we are. What I do instead, because I'm greedy, is I purchase an upgrade to the total health of my base, which means each cobalt I use is a little bit more efficient. But I gotta say, I had it close down to the wire. I think maybe 2 more volleys would have killed me, potentially even 1. So it might have been a bit too greedy. You can see sometimes I mix it up with my mining style. Sometimes I go a little crazy. Here I upgrade a strength for my shield. It goes from 70 health points to 100. So I can just take a little bit more of a beating before I start losing my actual real health of my base. You can see there we managed to land a nice hit. And here we go, we get our first of the big floaty guys. I shoot a shell quickly to destroy most of the little walking guys. And then, ooh, you can see those big guys, you can actually aim a shell into them and it just KOs them instantly, which is really nice. Here we're going back to the gold that we left. Take as much as we can. Drop some down our little mining hole. Rinse and repeat. I've been in a few underground mines for work in real life, and it's pretty cool. So whenever I get to play in a game as well, it's enjoyable. Although usually you don't get to use a jetpack and fly straight down a shaft. However, at one site I was at, they actually did have a decommissioned mining elevator. I think it went down 12 stories at least. Maybe that's where they drain the water to. In the old mine, I think it went to at least 16 stories or something. I didn't get to look at it, but you could see the building that they had above it, you know, to house all the elevator machinery and stuff. It was pretty cool. So that's kind of similar. So maybe some mines do have a giant pit that you get down with. You know, it's a pretty good thing that landing a shot on yourself doesn't deal damage. Otherwise, I think I would be dead. So here we have so much gold, I actually need to increase the size of my pit to hold all my gold. Problem I wish I had in real life. Over here we get a cool upgrade, and I think it increases my visibility. So instead of only being able to see like one tile through the rock, like just the surrounding rock, you can actually see a little bit more. There's another one that lets you, it like increases your FOV. So instead of being able to see, I don't know, like 20 blocks, you can now see 27 or something, which is good because having more awareness of the map is always really nice. Here I'm upgrading my laser. I make it move a little bit faster and fire for longer. And of course, another drill upgrade. Always nice to mine fast. Do a couple preemptive shots. What's gonna come? I know it's just can't be these little walking guys. Fortunately, I rushed that shot, but I didn't manage to kill him. And this guy on the left gets 2 shots on me, which is a little unfortunate. But thankfully our stun laser froze the guy on the right, so he didn't get any shots off on us, and we managed to kill him. Back into the teleporter for another day at the mines. And I gotta say, this must be tiring. I mean, if he can mine in, you know, real speed, I mean, I guess the whole day is only half an hour, but if he doesn't get any sleep and he's mining all of this, you know, jetpacking around tens of kilometers, whew, this guy deserves overtime. Here we get a cool upgrade I hadn't used before, which is the Spire, and so it shoots down incoming projectiles, which is pretty fun. One thing I like about this game is there's so many upgrades, and especially if you play on a larger map, you can get so many of them. But even if you play on a huge map where you go down, oh man, I think I went down about 12 layers before I got to the artifact at the bottom. You still potentially don't even upgrade everything for your weapons because there's just so much. And if you play on like the endless modes, it can go pretty long. Right there was an awesome shell. It killed all the little goblin, little walking dudes. I don't know, they remind me of little like fleas or something. And it's always convenient when you get a buttload of gold right by your teleporter. I decided to drag some gold up to the surface just because then I'll have some money to do an upgrade. And I decided I probably need to upgrade how often it's teleporting because we're getting a bit of a backlog. I also do another upgrade for my stun laser because, as you can see, it's been putting in work. To be honest, like if it stuns an enemy and locks them in place, it makes it easier for me to shoot, and it prevents them from dealing damage to me, which is always nice. Base is at like 60% health. Not too bad. Do a little online shopping, peruse everything, but don't actually end up buying anything. Again, rush my shot, does absolutely nothing. And now we might start taking some serious damage. Once these big floaty guys actually get to you, they just start pumping you full of their electricity shot. Thankfully, I think the spire on the right here actually blocks some of their damage, which is nice because it's not just projectile, it might be their little energy projectile too. I go for a speed increase for my jetpack just because it's starting to be a ways up to get back home. And of course, if you didn't notice, there's like smooth rock on the borders, which is unbreakable. That's just the borders of the map. But I'm sure if you're still watching, you figured that out. Oh yeah, and if you're watching in this dead middle of the video and you're enjoying it, please subscribe. It makes me very happy whenever I see a new one. There we go. We go for another artillery upgrade. I'm going down the direct path hit. So now we deal even more damage if we land a direct shot. And the shells look a little beefier and the explosion may be a little bigger, but that might just be my imagination. We land a fat shot right there and I time it just good enough to get the guy that walks in on the right. And here we go. We got our first big behemoth. This guy pulls up next to your base and he kind of looks like a giant penis once he activates and he just starts ramming your dome, which is not something you want to happen as a man, unless you're into that. But a few shots into him, no trouble. I am glad I upgraded myself because I think now my shots do 400% damage if they're a direct hit. Doing some interesting mining pathways, that's for sure. And back in time for some more fun. Oh, okay, so that was the upgrade. We went from 70 HP to 100. The first one was 40 to 70, I believe. Preemptive strike. I like to think it killed something. And a shot on this guy. Fortunately, they're both there. And they're ramming my dome. One of them that was walking got hit by a direct shot, so he died with the 1 splash damage, but the other one had to do 3 splash damage shots because I didn't hit him on the second time. Luckily, we can deal with the flying guys and it's not too bad, but we do take a little bit of damage. Decided to buy a health purchase just in case, you know, don't want to get greedy. Grab some more gold on this side. And you can see that the deposit that the gold's in is in some pretty tough rock, so it's kind of annoying to break. Get a bit more water too, always useful for upgrades. And a little bit greedy, go and grab it. But I actually go through the teleporter back to the surface for once, and we get back just in time. I didn't trust my aim there, so I keep firing at it, but we actually would have killed him with our artillery shell. And we land a sweet shot on the floating guy, and I think that was a 1-shot, 1-kill. I don't believe I put any machine gun shots into the big floating guy, so that was nice. I go for a drill upgrade to make it even stronger. And decide to go for a nice deep hit. When I was mining here, I just saw that the rock was loose. You know, you can see it doesn't have that many rocks in it, so it's easy to break. And then we coincidentally come across the artifact. I see the first activator portal, so I trigger it, and then I just decide to follow the wires to the other one. And then they all end up being super close, not through any difficult rock. And then, shit, we get it. I easily could have spent another like 3 rounds if I just kept mining over to the right, but I guess we kind of sped run it. Get one final upgrade on my machine gun just for fun. And I have a little bit of money left over. I increase the sun strength of my bean. And here we go, final round. We get a nasty flying guy, but we ram him with our artillery shell right away. And then it looks like he gets a shield around him. Kind of not fair. You can see on the last round, there's so many enemies. It's kind of difficult to choose like who you shoot at. It does showcase the projection or projectile sphere. It does a pretty good job at blocking. Fortunately, we die, but that's expected. We have a crazy alien weapon in our dome, so it just wipes everybody out. And now we get to see our beautiful mine that we worked so hard for. You can see our nice little tree there. First gray layer of strata. Green. I guess it's more like teal. And you can see the first 2 levels look pretty good, and then the 3rd level, brown, not too open. And we got really lucky with the purple level. We found it right away. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.